Tonight, let's drift into a story not about exams or grades, but about discovering who you are through learning and how belief can truly change your life. As the day's last light fades, let your mind gently wander with us, finding comfort and peace in this tale. This is a story for anyone who's ever felt a little uncertain, a little lost in their journey, and yearns to remember their inherent strength. Our story begins with Maya, a young woman who, much like many of us, found herself often lost in thought, especially when it came to her studies. Night after night, she would sit by her window, the soft glow of her study lamp illuminating the pages of her books. But as she read, every word, every sentence, every concept seemed to weigh her down. It felt as if each page was heavier than the last, pulling her deeper into a quiet struggle. Outside, the world was hushed. The moon, a silent, kind observer, cast its gentle light upon the sleeping world. Its silver glow seemed to wrap around Maya's small room, offering a sense of calm that she desperately sought within her own mind. She'd sigh, running a hand through her hair, her eyes glazing over the words without truly absorbing them. A soft, almost inaudible whisper escaped her lips, a question born from a deep-seated doubt. Why can't I be smart enough? She wondered, her voice barely a murmur in the quiet room. The question hung in the air, a fragile thread of insecurity. But then, as if the moon itself was a wise ancient friend, a silent answer seemed to echo back to her. A comforting reassurance carried on the night breeze. It whispered, not with words, but with a feeling of profound understanding. You already are. The gentle rustle of leaves outside her window, the faint hoot of an owl in the distance, all seemed to reinforce this quiet, powerful message. The moonlight poured in, not just illuminating her room, but seeming to touch her heart, stirring a tiny spark of possibility. The next day, Maya carried the weight of her quiet struggle into the classroom. Her teacher, Mr. Reed, a man with kind eyes and an even kinder spirit, noticed. He saw the subtle slump in her shoulders, the way her gaze would drift, the flicker of doubt that crossed her face. Instead of lecturing her about grades or performance, he simply beckoned her over after class. He began to share a story, a personal anecdote that resonated deeply. He spoke of his own youth, of a time when he, too, had faced an overwhelming challenge, a moment when he had failed his first big exam and almost gave up on his dreams entirely. He described the despair, the feeling of not being good enough, the temptation to walk away from it all. But then, he found his own mentor, someone who saw beyond the grades and into his potential. We don't learn to be perfect, Mr. Reed said, his voice soft yet firm, his gaze meeting Maya's. We learn to grow. Every stumble, every question, every moment of confusion, they are all just steps on the path to understanding. They are not failures, but opportunities. As he spoke, something began to shift inside Maya. It wasn't a sudden, dramatic change, but a quiet, tender unfolding. A tiny seed of belief, perhaps planted by the moon the night before, began to bloom within her. It was a belief not in perfection, but in the power of her own journey, in the simple, profound act of growth. She felt a lightness, a sense of hope she hadn't realized she was missing. Days turned into weeks. Maya still sat by her window, her books still spread before her. But something had fundamentally changed. The pressure that once suffocated her had begun to dissipate, replaced by a quiet calm. She still studied, but this time it was different. She approached each page, each concept, slowly, deliberately, giving herself space to absorb and understand. There was no longer a frantic urgency, but a patient, steady rhythm. She began a new ritual. On small slips of paper, she'd write affirmations, little messages of encouragement that she'd place around her study space. "I am learning," one would say, tucked into the corner of her mirror. "I am improving," another declared, peeking out from the pages of her textbook. And the most important one, the whisper from the moon. Now a steadfast anchor in her heart. "I am enough." These simple words became her companions, gentle reminders of her ongoing journey. Learning transformed from a burden into a source of peace. The quiet hum of her lamp, the soft rustle of pages, the gentle thoughts in her mind, it all became a symphony of growth. For the first time, she studied not to prove something to others, or even to herself, but simply to grow. Each new piece of knowledge wasn't just data to be memorized, but a new perspective, a new layer added to the rich tapestry of who she was becoming. There was a heartwarming, emotional tone to her new approach, a deep satisfaction in the process itself. Every lesson we learn, whether it's from a textbook, a conversation, or a moment of quiet reflection, is like a delicate feather on the wings of who we are becoming. Each piece of knowledge, each new insight, each moment of perseverance adds strength and grace to these wings, allowing us to soar higher, to see further, and to understand more deeply. So tonight, as you close your eyes and prepare for rest, remember this: you are growing even when you rest. Your mind is processing, your spirit is replenishing, and your journey of learning continues, even in your dreams. Embrace the quiet wisdom of your own growth. Tomorrow, you'll awaken a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little more truly yourself. Let this peaceful thought carry you into a restful sleep, knowing that you are always enough and always on the path of becoming. Thank you for joining us tonight on this journey. If this story brought you a moment of peace, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more calming stories and meditations. Sweet dreams.